Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. Happy Sunday to you. We're going to take another look here, of course, at Bitcoin, and I'm tuning in from Seattle, Washington. For the moment here, what we're going to do is obviously take just a quick look. It's not going to take a lot of time at the current situation, kind of see what these candlesticks are telling us, and effectively identify anything else that might be relevant. As per usual, always like to look at best practice and big picture. So if you want to become a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is a site, link in the description below. You can become a member if you would like, because I do offer a trading academy, community, and signal group, and awesome stuff in every regard there too. And it makes the most benefit because my community is just so awesome. So thank you all again for being as a great part of my life and each other's as well. We are all learning and growing together. It's fantastic. Either way, basically what we want to look at here for Bitcoin is, to me, well, we'll look at the candlesticks here in a moment. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek, first of all, at some of the standard stuff, right? We're up over the 50 and the 20-day set moving average. That's pretty normal. The 200 is trailing behind, of course. That's quite a ways away. We don't need to worry about that. But for the moment, we're above two important indicators. We're also above 50 and below 70 in the RSI. So it's more so bullish, and we can kind of assume at this point that the ascending trend will continue, right? That's generally the concept. So nothing has changed much there. Let's go ahead and take a look more so at the micro and midterm, kind of find out what's going on. We are still making higher lows, which is fantastic. We got a decent amount of support here at about 24,300, right at that range. Coincidentally, right where the 20-day SMA is holding. So far, so good. Now, granted, that may not continue forever. We've retested this level here at the resistance at 25,000. Now I think officially like a fourth time in a row, or at least a fourth time in the last however long. Okay, a correction. I was wrong. 3 times in the last 24 to 48 hours. So again, the more often you retest a level, the more likely it is to break. It does feel like Bitcoin wants to break to the upside. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Definitely looking good in that sense. The only conflicting information that I see is on the daily. We'll go back to that here in a moment. But just to kind of summarize here, on the 4-hour, we're still above 50 and below 70 on the RSI. Good stuff there. You could argue that we do have a bearish RSI divergence, whereas the price action is going up and the RSI is going down. That is true. That does imply that we could see reversals. So that is slightly concerning, but once again, not like the end of the world. It's definitely well, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's honestly one of those things where on the 4-hour time frame, it's a little less relevant, but it still signals a potential reversal on the midterm, right? So what that basically just means is if we see this RSI divergence continue, we could, it basically just implies that the bulls are losing control and they're no longer able to push through that key level resistance, and we could see a somewhat of a reversal. Now, reversal, and when I say that, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to come crashing down. It just could imply that we might see 24 or 23,500 retested before it comes up again. If we do lose this ascending trend, though, we do need to be mindful and kind of shift our mindset a little bit more to the bearish side of things, whereas the price action could come down. So at this point, the 4-hour time frame is telling us a little bit more that it wants to turn itself around and come down versus go up. That's just kind of what I see there. And to kind of reiterate that fact, I'm going to go ahead and put this out here right now, is on the daily, we've got the oh so wonderful double doji candles. Now again, this isn't closed yet, so today's candlestick hasn't closed. We've got plenty of time left on the trading day. So just keep in mind that's tentative. But anytime we've seen double doji candles in the past, it signals, in most cases, a shift in momentum, right? So when you see that happen, it doesn't always imply that it's going to happen. I've seen it happen a few times where it doesn't, but it's more likely than not. In other words, we could be at our ceiling for the moment before the price action comes back down. Keep in mind, the last couple of times it's done this, it hasn't been like a significant drop. I mean, granted, this is a decent sized drop. It's still making higher lows, okay? So once again, higher lows are still present even after these double doji candles are hitting. So basically what could happen here, just say play devil's advocate. Worst case scenario, the price action comes down, we continue this ascending trend, it bounces somewhere in the range of 23,000, 23,500, and we continue to have higher lows, right? The higher lows are still printed, and then we of course have that reversal from the double doji. So to me, it feels like we should at least see 24 to 23.5 retested before it continues to progress upwards from there. Right, again, both that would actually be a best case scenario, because when we look at this here, I mean, on TD sequential, I know it doesn't really count that high. It's counted to a 5 because we got a little reset here. We still do kind of have 9 or 10 days of bullish continuation to the upside. It would make sense that profits are going to be taken, especially when the trading day opens tomorrow. Now, a lot of this is contingent on the traditional market. So we get a gap up or down from the traditional markets, then we could definitely see a correction too. What I think could happen, and it seems very likely, even though this is making higher lows, Nasdaq and S&P, they're both due for a correction to retest their most recent resistance slash current support. So all these things kind of coming together does kind of imply the price action could pull back here soon. But again, I don't think it's going to be a very, very significant correction. We'll know when we get there, right? Well, we'll know if we lose this key level support. If we no longer continue to make higher lows, at that point, we need to kind of adjust our mindset to the fact that it could very well continue bearishly, at least on the short term. I do feel it's more likely to see 28,000 than it would be 14,000, just based on obviously the fact that it's much closer and the fact that we broke this key level resistance. So we have a lot more positive going for us. It just feels like also in the midterm we're going to see a retest of lower levels to essentially continue to maintain those higher lows. Those are things that I'm kind of paying attention to. So for now, no trade is a good trade, honestly. I would just recommend waiting to see what happens with this double doji. There's a great chance, it could come back down. There's also a smaller chance that the price could come up. Again, just depends on where you're at. So me, not being the gambling type, I'd like to kind of just hang out here and wait for confirmation, because again, double doji candles doesn't necessarily mean it's the sky is falling, but it does imply that it should turn around based on the simple fact that these are almost gravestone candles. And if you're not familiar with the term gravestone, it basically just implies that it comes up and closes at the exact same point at which it started in that 24-hour period. So essentially just meaning that the bears are controlling that time frame. If we got two 24-hour periods that are closing the same pattern, it tells us the bears are still in control and that the bulls are effectively losing control, right? Because I think if we look at the MACD on the 4-hour, we could see that there's a divergence here as well, and that's also something to acknowledge. So a lot of signs are pointing down, but keep in mind this is a Sunday, this is a weekend. There's not a lot of it's kind of a flip of a coin. So again, I don't love taking trades on the weekends just because the fact that we never truly know which direction it's going to go until the whales actually come into play, and that's usually Sunday night around 5 p.m. Pacific. So here in another 8 to 10 hours, we're going to see some definitive direction. Okay, so that's just kind of what we're looking for, waiting on. So if you're curious at being part of my signal group, why weekends are quiet, there's a lot of reasons for that. Low volume, and the volatility is just a little less predictable. That's kind of it. But all right, well, hopefully this made sense to you. I would say mostly bearish on the micro, but still bullish on the macro, if that makes any sense to you. So I hope you learned something here today. Feel free to become a better trader if you'd like. CryptoCache.tech is the website, link in the description below. I look forward to working with you. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for your time.